Okay, bottom bracket, game 6. My team versus Paris' team. Argos is subbed in for Spoon. Same lineup on the team of Business Associates. Right now, the score is 3-2. So this is a deciding game. If Mystery Men are able to win, they will confirm their spot in the finals. If Paris' team pulls this out, there will be a deciding game 7. Interesting side note, this map crashed the first time we did it. My team asked for a 15-second planning time, just test to see if the map was bugged or if it would actually start and work. Paris instead changed the planning time to 2 minutes and basically implied that both teams could just trade fast. So the reason that's interesting, we'll see in a second. Pretty standard splits here. You've got Karma on the Trow. You've got Donsky, Ars, and Tiri on our fetch. You've got Zell on the melee pack. Argos is going to have something similar, as well as LSO and some Dwarf Heroes. This is King of the Map, so the goal of this is to have the most flags captured for the longest time. Just fast forwarding a bit. So you can see from the very beginning that Paris' team is very discombobulated. Adren has 26%. They get quite a late start. So right away, our team has a flag advantage. You notice Adren is still trying to redistribute his units. A minute ago, he had like 45%. So they're starting the game off at a disadvantage, and I think him having such a large amount of their units is also a problem. He's got 3 fetch. So the fetch was the bulk of his percentage. That's basically these Stigs. Captain has fetch as well, but you notice their fetch are super staggered out. Oh, and just kidding. Adren in fact has 5 fetch. So that's definitely not great. Captain needs more than 2. Ideally, you give at least one of these over to Captain, or you split this 3 ways. On the side of my team, they're bringing 5 fetch mid. That's 2 for Donsky and 3 for ours. So at this point, Adren does line up. He's got 3 of his 5 fetch here. Captain is further back. It looks like he's going over to face Tiri. If we go over to the southwest, we've got pretty similar melee packs with LSO and Verm. Looks like Verm does have slightly less, but he does have these 2 Dwarf Heroes. So you should be able to, you would think, be able to push and do some damage. Pretty empty. On this side, Mysteryman is able to secure the northeast as well. For some reason, Paris is sending 2 fetch northeast, which is interesting, kind of given what we're seeing. So Adren is being aggressive here, even though he still has 2 fetch that are not lined up at all, and Captain is kind of in no man's land. Paris' team doesn't get soulless. These souls are quite good on this map because they're able to put a lot of pressure just by being here on these fetch. Because Adren's just now getting his fetch lined up, he also has 1 less fetch. We decide to just play this pretty aggressively. So right away, we're able to trade a little bit of Trow health to get 1 of the fetch. So now we've got a 6 fetch versus 4 advantage. Captain is also at a 1 fetch disadvantage from Tiri, while we've got these 2 fetch that are basically doing absolutely nothing in the northeast. So beyond just the planning time screw up, several problems here. If you find yourself in the situation, the right play for Adren, A, is to give Captain 1 more fetch so he can face Tiri, and B is to play super passively into backup. By not doing that, you've made a bad situation worse. Paris's distribution and trade here is questionable. For sure. Like, you think of Captain here trying to deal with both these soulless as well as Tiri's fetch, but not a great play from either Kroon or Adren to even be in a position to take it. So now, from now on, we're really free to dictate pace. From a mid perspective, we can really push anytime we want. Verm is now trying to push into this. He should be able to win this if he plays it correctly, even though LSO does have 1 dwarf coming up. I'd still give the advantage slightly to Verm, though if he doesn't hurry, it's going to be hard with this hill. He needs to kind of get over and make LSO play to him. Another fetch goes down. Again, just a product. They really need to be backing up. They've got this giant ramp. They should just leave mid. There's no way you can fight this. If you leave, you're only down 3 minutes at this point. There's time to make this into at a minimum, just kind of like a clusterfuck game where anything could happen by running everything here, holding these passages with dwarfs, and then trying to flank everything around west or east. Would that work? I mean, probably not. You'd assume not, but at least that gives you a chance to have something wonky happen. Instead, again, even in this scenario, if you ignore Tiri's fetch, we've got 6 fetch on the side of my team, one of which is red. You've got 6 fetch on the side of captain, but there's no Solus. You've got a Trow that's basically even damage, so there's just not a reason for them to be here. Looking over west, it looks like Vern lost both dwarves. Unfortunately, Paris is now pushing a bit south, but again, what are these fetch really going to be able to do? I'm not sure much. We decided at this point to just back off. Similar reasoning here. There's no reason to push up this hill. It's the same reason why BA could have retreated everything. They eventually start to figure this out. You know, Adren is I'm sure, you know, seeing that there's really nothing he can do. So as we speed this up, we threaten Paris a bit. He's still cut off. At this point, it's getting really desperate for BA. The lead's now 14%. More importantly, they got half the flags. Captain points out there's literally nothing they can do mid against these souls. So Adren leaves. I think this is late, but it's the right call. Captain and Kruniak should also leave. You hold these 2 areas with dwarves as best you can. You make us take a while to kill you. If you can get Trow over here, you know, by running around, even though it'll take a while, you're in a better spot. But at least, again, if we're saying what's a win condition that could possibly happen, that could I tell the team I'm going to do the thing I always do and pretend to leave the crowd just to see what the other team do. Kroon takes the bait, pushes into this. You've now got Monty losing a dwarf. Captain's the only one here with two fetch. Adren now has free reign to push this. If Elso could have gotten his dwarf up here, that would have been really good. I think he could have taken out at least a couple fetch. But at this point, they've stayed too long. They have basically no fetch. They lose pretty much all of this here because at this point, I'm free to just take any Trow engagement I want because with our fetch advantage, they're guaranteed to lose more than we lose. So we go in, basically suicide in exchange for killing the entirety of their mission. Adren is able to push this, 2 fetch. Eventually he should be able to take this down. Still makes the right choice and leaves. Does lose 1 dwarf. We're winning elsewhere, everywhere. Tiri does die a bit to Paris, but it doesn't matter. In the end, he's able to re-rush it, and at this point, it's just a matter of cleaning it up.
Flag captured. Flag contested. Flag.
Trading tags. Not much else interesting happens here. I didn't know coming into this game if a 1 kill vet Stig versus an almost full health Zerk who would win. The Zerk does take heavy damage, but a Zerk wins that 1v1. So if anyone's interested, if that situation happens in the finals, the Zerk should feel confident. Drin dies here. Everything's over. We'll do one more review of Game 7, but at this point, it's already, as Verm here has figured out with his Zerk in the corner, it's all she wrote for business associates. I think that most would argue that the team underperformed. They went 0-3 in matches against my team. They went 0-1 in matches with Team HOTS. So with that roster, if Sam had showed up, or Rat King, or both, right? Could have been a different story for these guys this year. But, very glad that they participated. It was good to have another top tier team. And with that, we will just wrap this thing up. Well, I didn't do a damage MVP, so I don't even know who it was. I'd say our fetch, mid, Donsky and Ars did a really good job of backing me up, which was great. So we'll give them the MVP, and we will go on from there.